All right, everyone, I'd like you to just close your eyes for a second. Please, everybody do this. It's very important. And think about the best gift you've ever received in your life. It could be from a few days ago to a few years ago. And try to really put yourself in that moment, the anticipation of receiving it, unwrapping it, and the excitement when you saw what it was. I'm going to count to 3, and when I get to 3, you have to do this. Shout out the name of that gift. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. You guys are great. So, what is it about gifts? And this is not work. I can't forward the slides. So, what is it about gifts that connect us all? And really, it makes us all, from whether we're old or young, regardless of where we're from, we can all have an amazing connection. Because there are things that happen, this will come back in a second. There are things that happen inside our body that are beyond our control. And this is something that there's things in our brain that release endorphins. It makes our heart beat a little bit faster, makes our palms sweat. It creates an excitement that, as I said, it's really nothing that we can control. But I'm not a scientist. Hey, this is what I do for a living. Who knows who this is? Shout out his name for bonus points. Oh, wow, that's very good. So Hermie is an elf, and elves make, whether you believe this or not, elves make presents and gifts, and he's a product designer, really. And so I'm not an elf, but I do design products, and I'm very fortunate that I have a profession that I love, and in my career, at the company that I work for, I've designed literally thousands of products, things that you might use every day or things that you interact with. And if you think about what product designers do, it's really our responsibility to create the objects that are in our world. So whether you think about it or not, the seat that you're sitting in, someone had to think about how that felt to sit in. And they had to take some effort and time to design it. So whether it's shoes or headphones or computers, these are the things that people like me design. It's working really well. And I don't do it alone. I work with a group of people at the company that I work with. And there are hundreds of us that have to get together. We're designers and engineers and psychologists and people that team up to create these type of products. And how we do this, it's a really interesting process because so when we were fortunate enough to team up with the MIT Media Lab and Nicholas Negroponte to develop an inexpensive laptop for children, the first thing that we really had to think about is those children, of course. This is something that had never existed in the world, and it's critical to understand. So this is a girl who lives in Africa, and her way of growing up and her education is, of course, very different than most of us. She walks to school, and the weather conditions certainly aren't great as she walks back and forth to school. Her school has dirt floors, there's no electricity. It's a very different environment than at least I grew up in. And, I guess that one wasn't loud enough. There we go. And we think of the day in the life, the process that she goes through as she's walking to school. And we think about things like, well, she doesn't have any power, so how are you going to power up this computer? And then we start to develop ideas of what this could look like. And how lucky am I that I get paid to draw stuff and to come up with innovative new computers, whether it's an all-rubber computer or a computer that has a fabric wrap around it. These are the things that we think about that could serve the needs of these children. And then we develop prototypes. So in some cases, lots of them. So these are all different versions of this computer that we started to envision. And you might notice the green one at the center is, it has a hand crank. So we started thinking about ways to generate power when they aren't near any sort of power source. So human-generated power was one of the options that we were considering. And this is the final object that you might know, as it's a laptop for around $100. It's called the One Laptop for Child. You're seeing it here in laptop mode and also book mode. And it's really about getting education to children around the world that normally can't have access to this information. So this is, these are out in the field, out in the world, and kids are benefiting from them. And it's really a doorway into information that they would never have access to otherwise. And in the end, this is what's most important, that I helped make this connection, and I was part of a big project to help make this connection with people. But that's an example of what I do and a bit of the process. But one of the things that I get asked most often is how do you do it? How do you come up with innovative new ideas? I thought a lot about this for this presentation. And I came up with a very complex formula that I've never shared with anyone. And this is a window into the world of designers' minds, which has never been seen. That's it. This is it. This is the answer to everything. You take a little bit of left brain thinking, a little bit of right brain thinking, mix in some wow, and then you get these great products that end up being great gifts that are going to release all these endorphins that I talked about. So let's take this step by step. You might know a little bit about left brain and right brain thinking. Left brain controls a little bit more of the logical side of what we do. The right brain is a little bit more creative. So we'll start talking about the left brain first. And it's really important to solve the logical needs that people have. So as I set out to design something like the interior of a car, which we've done, I have to think about tall people and short people and the size of the seat and the steering wheel. These are the very logical needs that we all have. And you might think, well, Kevin, this is easy, right? Everything around us is designed pretty well. But that's not always true, because sometimes somebody isn't doing it right and mistakes happen, right? So it's not that easy to design things that effectively. Who can tell me what this is? TV, good. What about that TV? Somebody over here got it. So, did you know, that was a snap, that when they first designed the, come on, thank you. When they first designed the Wii remotes, they didn't have a proper wrist strap on it or that cool rubber boot that's around it. So people were playing tennis and baseball and whatever else, and they were actually throwing their Wii remote into the TV. They weren't thinking through the logical needs of designing a product. These were scissors that I bought for my home office, little small office that I started. And you might notice, if you didn't know, there's an arrow now. I didn't own scissors because it was a little office. And I had to, come on, help me out here. They're not thinking this through. And some things just aren't designed to fit the human body. Your body isn't shaped that way. All right, you get it. And some things are just a really bad idea. So then I told you this was very visual. I'd be in trouble without a slideshow. So then there's the emotional side of design. And so this is the less logical, the less rational side of things. And the cars are a classic example of this. The front of a car is strategically designed to look a certain way to attract a certain audience. So the headlights can be seen as eyes. The front grille and the fender on a Mini has a slight smile to it. That's very strategic. It's not conscious that you realize that, but you relate to the car in a different way than something like a BMW, which is intentionally and strategically, it has a different expression. And these are the tricks, I'm giving you the secrets here. These are tricks as a designer that we play to communicate things to you. And it's not just messing with your subconscious brain, it's to help attract a different audience to different types of cars. And so as we go back to things like the one laptop per child, we wanted ways to make it a little bit more fun and friendly and gestural. And so those two green things that are sticking up are the antenna. And we made those so that they stuck up. And they have that feeling. It's sort of a universal gesture of joy and excitement. You scored a goal, and every person can relate to that. And it gives the product a little bit more of a human animated gesture. Similarly, we've developed products for peripherals, for like tablet computers and iPads. This is a clip that is adjusted to an iPad. And on the front of it, you can see these features, these little fingers. We just added that little element. It's almost like when you get up in the morning and you're looking at this thing, it's holding your paper for you. And those little details can really, again, subconsciously connect with people. So then there's the X factor. It's something that is greater than the sum of everything. It's more than the left and right brain. It's just that surprise element that designers somehow are able to come up with. And it's things like this. This is a pacifier, And, somebody just said, let's put a mustache on it. It's just fun. Again, I'm pretty fortunate that I can have fun in what I do. This is a sandwich bag for a lunch. And in case anybody's stealing your lunch, I didn't design this, but I wish I did. So there's fake mold on the outside of that bag. You get it, right? This is a really nice, it's to raise awareness around autism. And it's a bag, and as you can see, there's a hole in the bag. And when someone holds the bag, it really completes that image. And it really creates a nice message. And then there's just stuff that's really simple. So this is for your iPhone, a little holder display. And it looks like gum. I mean, this is simple, right? So you got it. Take a little bit of the logic, mix in the emotion, hit it with wow, and you're guaranteed, boom, thank you, to create something that's very exciting, release those endorphins. And what's most important for me, for what I do, is that I can release endorphins for kids like this. Thank you very much.